this is B. I am here with Frank Bellino. He is I Got a Guide Travel, and we are so excited to get started, talk about all things cruises. All right, Frank, let's go ahead, introduce yourself, tell everybody what you do and why you love cruises so much.
Hi, B. My name's Frank Bellino. As B said, I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I just turned 62 years old, and
Ooh.
when I was younger, I thought cruising was just for older people. And well, here I am at 62, and guess what I'm doing? But what happened is I did 24 years in the military. I did 40 years as a law enforcement officer. Um,
Okay.
I'm still serving at a school district as a school district policeman. And I started thinking about, I'm going to be retiring, right? I'm going to be hanging up my gun belt. What am I going to do? Well, all this time I've been cruising and I've been traveling, and I love to travel, love to experience new things, love to meet new people. So what is the best thing to do? And I've always been told that if you love what you do, it's not a job, right? So
Yep, I agree.
uh, after after being on my first cruise, and I said, I love this. This is awesome. And the experience that I felt, I said, well, why don't I try to help other people cruise as still as a way of service to people to help them understand. There are a lot of people that don't know the cruise industry. There are a lot of people that are afraid of cruising. There
That's
are a
me.
lot of, yeah, there's a lot of people. I don't swim. My wife still
Mhm.
doesn't swim, and she's been on several cruises.
That's
So
awesome.
there are there are plus and minuses to everything, right? And what I tell people is try it. If you don't like it, I can put you on a 3 or 4 day cruise. If you don't like it, it's not the end of the world, right? But
Right.
if you get on it and you love it, you're hooked. And
I hear
so,
that.
yes, for, and, most of the time, and I'm going to be a little sexist here a little bit, but if my men go on cruises, we're used to being taken care of, right? But
Hmm.
when a woman goes on a cruise, she doesn't have to clean. She doesn't have to cook. She doesn't have to do laundry. She just gets up in the morning and the bed is made for her and everything's done. And so they are actually get to take a vacation, right?
Yes,
If you
that's
go to
lovely.
a resort or you go to a hotel, we get into this land versus cruise thing, right?
Hmm.
And so you go to the hotel, you may get the steward to come in, after the day has started, after you've already gone out. You come back and the bed is made. Yes, that's nice. But to have a situation where everything is handed to you, it's actually the cruise industry. And again, with everything, it's what you make it when you go on a cruise.
Hmm.
Um, there are a lot of people tell you, "Oh, I had a horrible experience." Well, what was horrible about it, right? And then when you start talking to them, well, you could have had that same horrible experience at the downtown hotel or at SeaWorld or at Aquatica, wherever you wanted to go.
Right,
So
absolutely.
why only say only one portion of that? So I tend to think that people make it your vacation what you want it to make it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's kind of the way, like, if you're going through, and even if you're picking a hotel or anywhere, you're just doing your initial research, and you get in there and you start reading some of these reviews, and you're like, I don't know about some of these people. It's not necessarily the reviews they're leaving, but it's like, what did you expect out of the vacation to be so disappointed in it that, you're leaving this horrible review about it. So I totally get what you're saying with that. So basically, cruise ships are like these huge floating cities, right? Like, what's the most unusual and surprising thing that you've come across that you're just like, whoa, I had no idea this would be here?
An ice skating rink.
Oh, there you
So
go.
on the Royal Caribbean, on the Voyager class ships, they have an ice skating rink in the middle of the
Okay.
ship. They call it Studio B. They
Hmm.
have ice skating shows, right? Like you see Disney on Ice, and you see, of course, it's not Disney, but they have these ice skating shows, and then
Hmm.
in between shows when they're not performing, you can actually get skates and skate yourself, and
Hmm.
so that was pretty interesting for me. Um,
Yeah.
and that's on a bigger ship, but I tend to like the smaller ships, and you say big floating cities.
Hmm.
Now with the Icon of the Seas out there, which is another Royal Caribbean ship, um, They are huge. I mean, this thing is massive. You're talking about 7 to 8,000 people, right?
Wow.
On a ship. And, I live in San Antonio, the ship, the town. I may not see people on the other side of town forever, right? But on a ship, you're in a little more confined space, but still you're floating on something that's huge. And the Mariner of the Seas, the Voyager of the Seas, those are the smaller versions, right? So that each ship has a different niche that they cater to. I call the Icon of the Seas right now a floating amusement park.
Okay.
And so it is actually got water parks, and it's got slides, and it's got everything you could think on it. So that particular ship is massive, and you can go online and you can look. Now it's a big deal right now on social media where they post the Icon when it's parked at one of the ports next to one of the smaller ships, and you see the difference in size, and it's like, and so those type of things that people tend to look at. And then of course with a bigger ship, you don't feel as much of the ocean, right? Because it displaces more water. So I know that's one of the subjects we'll get to in a little bit, but I prefer the smaller ships. It's more intimate. You get more, so less people, you have less staff, but the staff has more time for the people.
Okay.
So when you go to start conversing with somebody and you start to talk to somebody, because most of the people that work on cruise ships are from different nations. They're from different countries, right? And so that interaction with somebody from the Philippines or from Indonesia or from Africa or from wherever they're from, right, that they happen to have that contract on this cruise ship, you're getting to experience a different culture, right? And of course, when I tell them I'm from Texas, they want to know about Texas. We're big everywhere. And so those type of things, you're from the United States. Well, I don't hardly ever have to tell anybody I'm from the United States. I tell them I'm from Texas. We're our own state. We're our own country.
Yes.
Right.
Definitely.
So those type of things, I enjoy talking to people from different countries. I enjoy talking to people from different areas of the world. It gives you a different perspective. And, the more that people tend to think we're not alike, the more we are alike when you start experiencing that.
Yes, no, I totally agree with that. That's actually my all-time favorite thing about going on any kind of trip is meeting the people that come along with it. I can't tell you how many people I've come across that have been St. Louisans, and I'm like, hey, we're out in Jamaica. And it's like, where are you from? Oh, I'm from St. Louis. Oh, really? What school did you go to? So, it's just everybody just knows everybody. It's just crazy how like you've never met in your entire state and you probably have walked past each other 100 times, but you end up at this one place that's all-inclusive or cruise or whatever, and you end up making the best friends that, hey, live right down the street from you. So
yes,
that's one of my favorite parts for sure. So how do you choose which cruise to go on? Is it one of those things where you're just like, you know what, I'm going to the Caribbean this year? Or like, how do you pick?
For me, when I'm talking to clients, the best thing I do is say, what is your experience? What is it that you like to do? Like I have a particular client, she doesn't like the warm weather. She's not a warm weather person. So she wants to go to Alaska. She wants to go to Canada. She wants to go to Iceland, Greenland, north. She wants to go north. Okay, well, so I look for a particular cruise that goes north that she likes. There's a lot of people that Hawaii, the Pacific, Mexico. Then you have the Caribbean, right? You have the Mediterranean. So after you talk to people, we happen to call it qualifying people, right? We're going to qualify. Do you fit? Is this going to work for you? Because I do not want to send you on a cruise or any vacation that you're not going to be happy with, right? And again, it's back to what you make it. But if you're deathly afraid of the water and you're going to, and it's just going to be horrifying for you to be on a ship, then why do I want to send you on a cruise when you're not going to be comfortable, right?
That's true.
So we talked about that a little bit, is that I will say, okay, let's try a 3 or 4 day cruise first. Don't set me up to send you on a 10-day Mediterranean cruise if you've never been on a ship, and then you're going to be horrified the whole time. You won't be able to enjoy yourself. I talk to people, get to know them. We chat. Okay, what would you like to do? Oh, and this is what I would like to do. Okay. So each ship has its own niche.
Okay.
Certain ships are for older adults. Certain ships are for families. Certain cruise lines cater to different type of clientele, just like hotels, just like amusement parks, just like certain areas of certain cities. It's the same type of setup. The only all adult cruise line out there is Virgin Voyages.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. I didn't even know there
so
was one.
yes, they're all
That's awesome.
adults. No children, have to be 18 or over to get on that ship. Now they're the only one right now that's all adult. And they even have commercials where the kids are singing, "It ain't fair that you don't take us on a vert," you know. But so that particular cruise line, but it's very limited. There's only 4 ships right now, and so they have different sailings, and their sailings are spread more apart because they only have 4 ships. Where you take a Royal or you take a Carnival, Norwegian, Princess that have a lot of ships, you have more selection, right? Princess, and I don't know how familiar you are, but Princess is the original Love Boat. If you remember the
Oh.
show from the 70s, right? The 70s and 80s, the Love Boat show, that particular show was made on a Princess ship. And so Princess touts themselves as the love ship, right? So Love Boat. They tend to cater to romance and, you know. So do you have some children? Yes. Not as many as you would on a Royal. Royal is completely dedicated, or they try to dedicate themselves to children, just like Disney, right? I wouldn't send a young married couple with no children on a Disney cruise. They wouldn't want to have children.
But, well,
Yeah, no, they
yeah,
wouldn't.
you're probably right.
Right, right? Because they
Right.
get on there, oh my God, we don't want to have children now. So, no, but that's just something that you, when you talk to people and you know, hey, I'm going to take my 2 children. Okay, well, let's look at what do your children like to do? Because Norwegian has some ships that have go-kart tracks on them.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
Yes, and the go-karts will go 30 miles an hour. You're on top of the
Okay.
ship. So there are different ships for different strokes for different folks, just like anything else, right? What do you want
Yeah.
to do? The new MSC ship has a swing that swings out over the ocean.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
No.
I'm sorry. I can't do it. I love the idea of it, but nope. Deathly afraid of it.
But some people like it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so if you're a thrill seeker, there is that kind of things that you can do. They have a ropes course on some of the ships that walk out over the ocean, right?
Okay.
You're hanging on with the ropes on the planks and stuff. So you have those options. If you're an adrenaline junkie, we can do that too. So
that's crazy. I never
Yes.
expected anything like that on a I mean, like I've seen like the slides and the big ass pools and all that stuff, but I've never actually heard of swinging outside. That just seems crazy
Yes.
to me. I love the idea. I would totally watch, but I don't think I'd ever participate.
right? So
That's cool.
So you talk about the pools for real quick. The pools aren't as big as you think they are.
Oh, they're not, dang it.
No, when you get 1,000 people in that pool, it's not very big. So,
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Right? And so most of the ships have more than one pool. Even the ships that cater, like Royals caters to the youth, I think, they still have an adult only area.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So you can still go lay out by the pool. You won't have kids running by and all that stuff. So they still have that area. Now, certain ships charge you for an area like that,
That makes
extra,
sense.
right? So there are, and you can buy the packages that include that. So there's different avenues, and it's just like if you get a good travel agent, they'll talk to you and they'll say, okay, what is your expectations? Are you taking children? You're not taking children. How old are your children? Because that makes a big thing too. A lot of the cruise ships have nurseries. They have children's programs.
Okay,
So
that's
that
cool.
mom and dad can still have mom and dad time. I think it's Royal. I don't quote me on that, but I think one of the ships now you can have dinner, and I would have to research, but you can have dinner, and the kids can join you for the first hour, and then the kids club personnel come and get the kids. So you
Okay.
have the rest of your dinner just you two.
Oh, that's nice. I love
Yes.
that. Not
Yes.
that I don't love my kids, but
Right.
there are times where you're just like, especially on vacation, you're like, can I just have like just a half hour, just to myself for just a couple minutes,
And
please?
see, this is the thing I was telling you about. For men, you know, and not all men, I get it, but for most men, when they go on vacation, it's still the wife doing her wife job. It's still
Yes.
she's still doing her mother job, right? So the cruise ships have seen that, And that's why they open these adventure oceans and kids clubs, and they even have teen clubs where it's all the teens can go there, and they
Okay.
have their own little dance area, and they have their own little video games, and yeah, it's a whole setup like
Okay.
a youth center. And
That could be
so
fun.
yes, so the kids really enjoy it. Now, if you get I would guess my daughter, she's just now turned 18. There between 16 and 17, it was kind of hard for her to get into anything because they do have the teen clubs, but does a 17-year-old want to be with a 13-year-old? You know, if you get
Right.
so there's that little bit of difference, but usually the kids are easier to make friends, right? So they tend to hang out together. That works too. There is so much to do on a cruise ship that you wouldn't even believe. I mean, from the time you get up in the morning to the time you go to bed at night. And then again, different cruise ships, Carnival, Virgin, they tend to shut off at 2 or 3 in the morning. The other ships, Norwegian, Princess, they tend to close down a little earlier, like at midnight, right? So that because they cater to a different clientele, right? And
Makes
that,
sense.
not saying that they don't have youngsters on there, not saying they don't have real old people on Carnival, but I'm just saying they cater to a different class, right? To a different class, and probably not the right word, but a different generation.
Right. That no,
It's
I that totally makes sense. Like in my head, every cruise ship is the same and they all offer the same
no,
thing and they go to the same places and all of that. So
no,
it's good to know that there's a
yes,
complete difference between them.
yes. So now, certain ports only go, I say only, generally go to the same location because of distance, economy, travel time, travel patterns. So if you cruise, and most of my cruises that I sell are out of Galveston, Texas. I'm in Texas.
Hmm.
So most of the cruises out of Galveston go to Cozumel, Belize, Honduras, Mexico, and then back to Galveston. They go straight down and straight back up. The cruise lines have kind of adjusted a little bit because people are saying, well, we don't want to go to the same place every time, right?
Right.
Even though there's a lot to do in Cozumel. Now, I'm very happy getting off the ship, going to the end of the pier where the Margaritaville is, and I'm happy sitting there. That's
I love a
that's my
Margaritaville.
yes, that's my perfect place there. But
Right.
for most people, there's a lot of excursions, shore excursions, right? And there are a lot of things to do in Cozumel. There's a lot of things to do in Honduras. There's a lot of things to do in Belize. Different beaches. There are things to do, but how many cruises can you go on and still see the same thing and then still want to go on that cruise? So now the cruise lines have started going east from out of Galveston, and they'll go to Key West. They'll go to the private islands. Most of the cruise lines have private islands. Royal Caribbean's private island is like a water park.
Okay.
But they still have beaches, and they still have cabanas. They have food on the beach, and MSC has their own island. Carnival's open in their own island. So each one of them have their own niche, right? I'm going to go to... So now they've started going out of Galveston over to their private island because they can control the financial part of it, right?
Right. That makes
Instead
sense.
of instead of taking they dock at Cozumel, they got to pay a fee. The ship has to pay a fee, port fees, to dock in Cozumel. If they go to their own island,
It's
they
free.
yeah, they don't have to
Got
pay
it.
that. So those parts of it. And again, what is it that you want to do? What is it that you like to do? If you like to lay on the beach and that's your idea of fun, then
It's
I'm
my
going to say,
thing.
well, let's go MSC. Let's take MSC, go to their private island where they have the lighthouse. They leave you on the beach at night. The ship stays there. You
Okay.
get to have the beach party at night with the bonfire. That type of atmosphere. Now, if you want to go and you want to have a water park and you want to play with the kids, well, then I'm going to send you to Royal Caribbean's private island, right? So I'm going to put you on a Royal Caribbean ship. Royal has just opened an adult only section on their island. They're seeing what is coming. They're seeing okay, we've built it up for kids, but now what about the adults that want to be on our ship that don't have children? What are we doing for them? Well, now we're going to fix that. So each cruise
Yeah.
ship, each cruise line is doing that.
That's smart on their behalf too, because I'm sure, at least it sounds like the newer generations, like my kids and them, they're not really so big into having kids, and they kind of just want to be like,
Yes.
adults and live their adult life. So I could see how like they wouldn't be able to really cater to that audience because that
Right.
audience doesn't really care about kids. So that's actually really smart on their behalf to do that kind of thing. So what would you say the biggest misconception is then on a cruise? Like convince me, because I'm one of those people that's scared to death of doing it. So I'm, of course, in my head, I've got sharks swimming all around me, and it's super dark and really scary. So what would you think would be like the biggest thing that you kind of, butt into when you're talking to a guest or trying to plan that trip for somebody?
Well, let me
What
tell
do they
you,
ask about?
the fear of the dark is going to be there. It's very
Okay.
dark at the ocean at night.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. So
I'm,
that one you're okay. That makes sense to you. You get that one. That makes sense.
I'm going to get that one because but you're going to see stars and you're going to see stuff in the sky that you don't see on land
That's
because
probably true. Yeah.
so I would tend to say, are you an ecologist? Are you somebody that loves nature? Because you're going to see things on the deck at night that you don't
Okay.
see. You're going to see. You talk about trying to see the shuttle go across. Oh, you're going to see the satellites. You're going to see all this stuff at night on the ocean that you won't see on land. So that
Mhm.
part of it. I don't think that we've had a major disaster with a cruise ship really since the Titanic. I think we had one over in the coast in the Mediterranean that tipped, but that's only two out of how many cruises that have been out there in
Right.
all these years, right? The cruise industry's been, when you think about it, driving on land and going to a land vacation to a hotel, you got just as much danger as you are on a cruise
That's
ship,
true.
right?
It's true.
And the cruise lines, believe it or not, have so much safety built into their organizations. The maritime standards that are in place. You have to have you have to have enough lifeboats to fit everybody. You have to have enough life jackets for everybody in that cabin. Just the standards to make sure that you're safe. The captain's not going to put his captain's license in danger by taking you someplace that you shouldn't be. Uh,
Right.
that part of it, yeah. Are there unforeseen things that are going to happen? Yes, but you know what? That could happen with anything.
Yeah.
And like I think somebody I read on social media, and I'm a big social media guy. A lady was complaining that the air conditioner went out on the cruise ship, and I'm like, okay, so if you stayed at the Waldorf Astoria in downtown New York, there's not a possibility that the air conditioning could go out. Let's think about things like that were before we start downing the cruise ship for something. Could have been anything, right? The air conditioner goes out in your house, God
That's
forbid,
true.
So,
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
those,
my house is the money pit, so I'm literally every other weekend we're fixing something new. So
Mhm.
I'm used to it at this point. So have you ever had like you've encountered rough seas? Like, has there been any swaying or anything like that? Because that's one of my biggest fears.
Well, okay, so you got to remember, you're not on a life raft where you're
Okay.
going to feel now, are you going to feel a little bit of the waves when it gets a little rough? Yes. And
Okay.
and people are going to post the videos of the stuff going, they're going to do that, right?
I've seen them.
Right, because it's not an everyday occurrence. So
Hmm.
those cruises get a lot of publicity because it's not an everyday occurrence. If somebody walking down the front of your street, right, going on a walk, everybody's gonna look and say, okay, no big deal, right? But if he's
Right.
walking naked, what is everybody gonna do? Oh my
Okay.
God, they're gonna right,
That's a
right,
great point. I get
okay.
you. That makes
So
sense.
so what you see in those videos, yes, it's real. It happened. But that's one cruise out of 50 million, right? So is it likely that it could happen? Yes, of course. I also know that different times of the year, right? Seas are going to be a little rougher because of the hurricane season. But
Right.
every ship has meteorologists. They have all the latest. They'll try to go around it. The ocean's big. Hurricanes
Okay.
don't fill up the whole ocean,
That is true.
right? So they'll go around it. Yes, you may miss a port because of that. People will get upset about that. But I
Yeah.
would rather miss the port than be safe, right?
Yeah. No.
So,
No. Absolutely.
right.
For sure. So if we're at sea for a couple days, what's the food like? Am I going to be bored eating or
Oh,
no?
no, no,
Because
no.
I'm all about the food.
Yes, I am too. You can't see it on the camera, but
Same.
yeah, I don't miss a meal. They never called me late for dinner. But what I like about cruising is that if you want to sit down and you want to have a formal meal, you can do that. And they'll bring you
Okay.
the first course and they'll bring you the second course. and they'll bring you to the third course, and they'll fill up your wine glass or your beer, whatever you want to drink. They'll do that for, it takes 2 hours to eat dinner. You can do that. Or you can go to the buffet and get anything you want. Everybody's happy. Everybody gets to eat what they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
From chicken nuggets to a steak on steak night when they're cooking steaks. I have not found a bad meal yet, and I'm a foodie. So, but they also have the burger place. They also have a hot dog place. They also have a pizza place. So any kind of food that you could want on a cruise ship, and you'll have people tell me, oh, the food was okay. You can go to McDonald's today and get a meal too, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So again, the thing about a cruise ship, if you don't like what they serve you, you can tell them, I really don't like this. I'm going to go get something else.
Oh, okay. And they're okay with that.
Yes.
Okay.
When you order at the main dining room, whatever they have 3 selections usually for the main meal, right? On Italian night, it's lasagna, spaghetti, and chicken parmesan. Well, you can pick one of those 3, and if you get it and you don't like it, you can say, hey, can I try it? And they'll bring it to you.
Okay.
And so,
cool.
So you're really not stuck starving. It's what you make of it, right? Now, and I've had people tell me, well, I bring my snacks and I bring this and I bring that. Food is available almost, I would say, from the time you get up in the morning. If you go down to the coffee shop, they have pastries, they have this, they have that. You get your coffee, you have pastries. Then it's time for breakfast. You get your breakfast at the buffet, or you can go to the dining room or one of the Johnny Rockets on some of the ships. They have a Johnny Rockets restaurant. They have a Guy's Burgers. So there's some big name restaurants that are also in the ships. So it's the same as any other restaurant when you go to it. Sometimes you get a good meal, sometimes you get a bad meal, right? For me, it's never always bad. Now
I like that attitude.
I tend to look on the brighter side of things. Hey, I'm on vacation, right? If I don't like this, I'm going to go get some pizza.
Yeah.
You know? If I don't like this, I'll go get a burger. If I don't like this, I'll go get a hot dog. So I'm going to, there's plenty of options for you to eat.
So I'm going to be able to eat.
You're going to be able to eat.
Not going to starve. That's all that really matters.
And if you get that hungry, there's cereal in the dining room. So you can go to the buffet and get cereal if that's what, you know.
Perfect. I'll find something, dang it.
Yes. So the one thing that I was most impressed about on a cruise is that, man, the desserts. Not so much how good they are, but the selection.
Okay.
You want chocolate, you want strawberry, you want lemon, you want pineapple, you want whatever you want, they have it. Cookies, cakes, puddings, pies, everything that you want if you got a sweet tooth, you're going to be taken care of. Even when you go down to usually they have a coffee place on the ship. They have the pies. They have everything there. So you don't have to go to the dining room to get that. But they always have something available, right?
Love that.
Certain ships, certain cruise lines cater to different people, different types of people, and like military or to firefighters, policemen, nurses. Margaritaville at Sea, big new ship coming out of Tampa, Florida. It's the only one they got. Well, they got 2, but the one out of Tampa is their newest one. Now they have free cruises for teachers, firefighters, nurses. Yes.
That's really cool.
Yeah, they want to reward their heroes. To me, is something that is worth looking at, number one. Number two, if you're a brand new cruiser, are you going to be out as your taxes and port fees? Let's go find out if you like it or not.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to test the waters, I think, is to, hop on a free one. That's really cool. I've seen the Margaritaville boat. I believe I'm in a group on Facebook and I see it all the time. It pops up on my feed and I'm like, it looks so pretty. I'm still kind of scared.
No, it is a very, they just did an overhaul of their leadership over there. They had a ship that was a 3-day ship. It went from Miami to Bahamas and back. They just did their overall leadership change over there, and they're making a lot of improvements. And, I think this leadership team that's in place now would be happy or trying to make Jimmy happy, in heaven, because they know he's watching. Margaritaville, Jimmy Buffett was an innovator. He was a master at what he does. And being an old parrot head myself, he that guy was a visionary. And with the Margaritaville at Sea, the Margaritaville restaurants, the Margaritaville resorts. That's kind of my job, my motif. So I like that. So yeah, I tend to like that, but I'm hoping that they expand now that they've kind of righted the ship, and now that maybe they'll get more ships and stuff. We'll see.
That'll be awesome. Yeah,
Yep.
so every time we go to Jamaica, there's actually a Margaritaville inside the Jamaica
Yes.
airport. And every single time I'm like, we have to give myself an extra hour or so I can have nachos there because that's like my favorite thing. So the
Yes.
trip does not end until we go to Margaritaville.
Nope. And my deal is I collect a T-shirt from every one of my Margaritavilles. So I have the
Yes.
Margaritaville from the where it says what it's on. Surprisingly, I don't have one for Margaritaville San Antonio, but
What? We're going to have to make that happen.
I go there all the time. So
Well, you live next to it, so you're like,
yes.
I don't really need a t-shirt.
Mm-mm.
It's I've been there before.
Right.
That's awesome. So, do you ever find yourself like first off, do you ever do solo cruises at all, or you always go with your wife?
I always go
Wife?
with my wife or my family.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
And so
No worries. I was just curious.
yeah, no, but I have a lot of customers, I have a lot of clients who are solo travelers. Right now, just my opinion, okay? Don't anybody get mad at me, but Norwegian has the best solo program.
Okay.
Because almost every cruise line will charge you for a single cabin a double rate on a solo traveler. Norwegian, of course, they don't have a lot of solo cabins, but they have the solo cabins and they have them on the ships require the most solo travelers, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so a solo cabin is like, I equivalent it to a dorm room in college.
Okay.
If you had a single dorm room in college, it's just a little room. It's got a bed in it. It's got a shower in it. It's not very big, but you're not paying a lot of money for it either. Now, they have also, some of the other cruise lines are catching on, and they're figuring this out, that there are a lot of people like to travel by themselves. Number one, you don't get the headache of having to say, okay, let's get 5 of us all together to try to figure out what we're going to do, right?
Right.
And so there's people that do travel by themselves, and I get it. And so some of the other cruise lines are now catching on, and they're moving people around and moving things around so that they have the single rate cruises.
Awesome. So, have you booked anybody on a solo cruise? Have they?
Oh, yes.
What's their feedback been? Good.
Well, okay. Again, it's been Norwegian for me.
Okay.
Norwegian caters to the solo traveler. They have their own lounge. They
Oh, okay.
have where only the solos can get in there. Their key card is the only one that opens that door, right?
That's
So,
cool.
yeah. So you're not going in there and there's couples already. Well, I mean, some of them may be couple, they may hook up by that, but
They
that's-
didn't come there as
they didn't
couples.
come there. Yeah, they didn't book the room as a double. So, but those type of things happen, and so, and they have almost every cruise line has a gathering of some sort during their cruise. Is catered like Norwegian does the solo travelers. They have their own lounge, right? But Norwegian also does something special for the veterans. Carnival does something special for the veterans. They have
love
their own
that.
little meet and greet where you go to that. They announce it. Hey, if you're a veteran, you can come to this. It's an hour, like social thing where you can go talk to somebody. And one time, the last 2 cruises ago, I was on it. We went to the military thing. There was 2 guys in there that I served with. We were in the same unit.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and we didn't know that we were cruising together. So
Small
that
world.
So that was pretty cool, and I got to catch up with them, and we got to talk, and we ended up later getting in the pool, drinking a beer, and so it was that type of thing that if you don't know somebody's there that's from your past, you'll run into them, and then they have LGBTQ gatherings, they have Christian gatherings, they have Star Wars gatherings, they have.
Okay.
So they have different niches for different groups, right? Whatever you think that you would like to do, there's something.
That's awesome. So, have you ever been on a themed cruise before?
Now, I have not, but
Okay.
I have sent people on them. So I sent a couple that is good friends of mine. I sent them on the Star Wars cruise, and they loved it. And
Oh, I bet.
people
Seems
walk
like it'd be a
around.
lot of fun.
Yeah. We are I'm an affiliate of Cruise Brothers, and we have a contract with 6 Men who does a lot of the theme cruises. They do a lot of the blues cruises, the country cruises. In fact, they're doing one that I'm promoting right now. It's Big and Rich and Gretchen Wilson cruise. And
Okay.
so there's a Christian music cruise. There's a hip hop cruise. There's a clothing optional cruise. I don't
Okay.
know. Not for
They
me.
got one for everything, huh?
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. That would not be one that I would go on. But
Hey, I'm not judging.
yeah, I don't judge. If you want me to book it, I'll book it for you. But
That's awesome.
yeah, it is not. That's not for me. So, but there is a cruise lifestyle for everybody. I think that's one of the things I like about cruising, that the industry itself has seen over the years the progression from it being a more formal type event, right? Maybe when your mom and my dad and my mom and my grandparents, my mom was an avid cruiser later on in her life. And, she's always packing her formal dresses and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's not,
Yeah.
I don't want to go on vacation and have to dress up every night to eat,
I agree
No.
to that.
right? So,
Every now and then. At least
Yes.
one night, I think, but not every
Yes.
night.
right. So the cruise line has opened up and lightened up a little bit. And, for men, if you wear a polo shirt and slacks, that's good enough, Now, they do have formal nights. They have theme nights on every cruise. They have theme nights from the 70s. And I wish I could show you some pictures, but we dressed up for the 70s night.
Oh, I bet they're great.
Yes. We have a formal night where you dress up in your suits and your ties and Texas, and the women are on. On one cruise we were on, they had a 20s night where
Okay.
the women were dressed up like flappers, right? And the men were on their gangster outfits.
That's awesome.
So they have different nights. White night, where everybody wears white. On Virgin Voyages, they have Scarlet Night. Everybody wears red. So
Okay.
what you do is you go on social media. How you find out? You go on social media, and almost every sailing has its own group, its own Facebook group. So you join the group, and then somebody from the group is the organizer, right? And they'll go find out what the theme nights are going to be for your cruise, and they'll list it, and they'll show you. If you get into the group far enough in advance, what they do is they say, and I'm Italian, I'm sorry, you'll see my hands.
You're fine. I'm the same way.
Yeah. So you'll see people that have been in the group for a while, and they get to know each other, talking back and forth. They'll plan an excursion. Well, they'll all go to the beach together.
Okay,
so-
that's kind of neat.
So that's kind of neat. So you start making friends before you even go on the cruise, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so this is the cruise industry evolving, I believe, right? I believe that, and I think that there's still going to be improvements. I think there's still going to be changes. All of them, everybody's going to like. No, you're never going to please everybody, right?
Right.
But again, remember, it's your vacation. It
It is what
rely
you make of it, dang it.
Yeah, don't rely on somebody else for your happiness. You wake up every morning, you look out and you see the sunrise and you see, ocean water, and, you just like, man.
Yeah, I bet it is very breathtaking, but
Yes.
still a little scary. Not gonna lie
Yes.
to you. So when you're booking, you personally, what kind of cabin would you prefer? Do you like the indoor, what are the balconies? Which one do you prefer?
Right. So different cruise ships, again, name them different. But for me, for my money, I've been on balcony. I've been in interior. I've been in the ocean view. I've been in a suite. The amenities that you get with the different rooms, and that's kind of the interior room being the lower end room, right? The stuff that you saw on the Titanic video, right? They're inside. I equate that to a hotel room. No frills,
Okay.
no bells, no whistles. But how often are you going to be in your room? That's the other question I ask you.
Not very often.
So-
I usually shower and sleep, and that's about it.
So if that's all you're going to be in your room for, then an interior is going to do you fine, and you're going to save yourself $300-400, right?
Okay.
If you are a little claustrophobic like me, and you got to be able to see outside, which I love. I'll take an ocean view. I'll pay the extra $100 or $200 to have an ocean view room. I don't need to go outside. If I want to go outside, I'll go out my room, go upstairs, go out to the deck, and I'll be outside, right? So it's only a few feet away. There are cruises that if you catch it just right, you get the same room, same price for an ocean view or a balcony. Okay, maybe I'll take the balcony, right? Or if it's
Hmm.
just a hair fraction. Now, there are some cruises that if you catch them at the right time, the balcony's cheaper than the ocean view.
Oh,
So
okay.
again, your travel agent who's doing your research for you, so you don't
My
have
I
to
got a
do it.
guy travel.
Right, that's right.
That's my agent.
Yes. So if I got a guy travels looking for you and I'm looking and I'm saying, oh, okay, so you're a little scared of the water, right? I'm not going to put you on an interior because if that one of the things about it is if you can't see, that's going to make your anxiety even up higher. So I'm going to at
Yes.
least put you in an ocean view or a balcony, right? And
Hmm.
if you can spring for a suite, you might like the perks of a suite, right? Um, some of the suites, you have your own butler. You have your own wine service at night. You have your
Okay.
own lounge. You have your own dining area. So there are some upgrades in a suite life. They call it a ship within a ship experience
Okay.
that you may like, that you may desire to pay for. Now, I will tell most people if this is your first cruise, don't spoil yourself because then you're going to
You'll never
want
be
to do.
able to go back.
You're right. You're going to want to do that every time, and you may not be able to afford it. Right?
Got
I'm
it.
very honest. I'm very upfront. I tell people exactly what I think when I'm. I don't try to upsell you because the way I feel about it is if I can get you in at the best price, you enjoy the trip. Where are you going to come again? If you go
Exactly.
and you hate it, you're never going to see me again. You're never going to want to talk to me again. So I don't want you to hate it.
You and I would not get along
Right?
afterwards.
Right? Exactly.
Right.
You sent me on this miserable trip and blah. Again, it's how you made it, but yes.
Right.
Right, because
That's
I
what you
talked
sign
to
up
you.
for.
That's right. And I talked to you and I told you this is what we're going to do. So, for the most part, I tried to at least start people in an ocean view if they've never
Okay.
been on a cruise before. Now, there are some areas of the cruise, like if you're going to Alaska, got to have a balcony.
I would
Unless
say, yeah.
unless you've
That's
been to Alaska before, and this is not something, but just to go to Alaska, be able to sit on the balcony, look out at the scenery, and drink your coffee in the morning with your jacket on or your blanket wrapped around you. There's just something about that that is not only romantic, but it's exhilarating, right? Because
yeah.
that's what you signed up for to go to Alaska. If you've never been to the Mediterranean, right, and you can sail and see the blue houses and the orange houses and the green houses, I want to put you in a balcony where you can see that, right? But if you say, "Hey, I've been on 5 Mediterranean cruises," okay, well then maybe you'll get it. Maybe an interior will work for you. There
Yeah.
are people that like the interiors because it's dark, you're closed in, they feel comfortable, they know that they're in the middle of the ship, there ain't nothing going to get to them. So again, anxiety level, I take all that into consideration when I'm talking to you about what do you like? What would make you happy? And if you're happy looking at a window, okay, we're good, right? I'm gonna put you in an ocean view. So
That's awesome.
those are just things that we do as a travel agent, and that's why people that have never been before on a cruise, I recommend they talk to a travel agent. You know, every travel agent I know, their service is free. It doesn't cost you anything. And I don't really call myself a travel agent. I call myself a travel advisor because I'm
Hmm.
going to advise you on what my experiences were, what I've researched, what I've studied. I have industry degrees, they call them, from different cruise lines, from different hotels, resorts, so that I know their product. I know what they sell. I know what they master in and what they don't master in. And if you're not a big party Jimmy Buffett head, why would I send you to Margaritaville when you're really not? If that's not your motif, right? That's not
Right.
anything you like. That's not something I would do. So that's again, as a travel advisor, that's what I would do. I would say, hey, okay, you want to really stay there? I'll tell you, but this is what it's going to be like. So then when you call me and say, man, all they did is play Margaritaville every night. Well, where are
I
you at?
told you.
Yeah, where are you at? Right? So those type things.
I love that. The honesty, I think that's what makes a great travel agent, advisor, all of that is somebody who could just be blunt with you and say, "Look, are you sure you're going to want this?" Because I have some wild ideas sometimes where I'm just like, "Yeah, let's go blah blah." And they're like, Okay, wait. Maybe you should stop and think about what it is that you're trying to do, and let's talk through it. And then I'm
That's right.
usually like, okay, you're right. Maybe it wasn't such a great idea, but so
Right.
I actually love that. We're beachside banter with B, so we got to bring up some sort of beach talk, right? So
Right.
what has been your favorite cruise where you visited a beach, and what has been like a hidden gem for you that you would recommend?
I like any beach with white sand and blue
Me
water.
too.
Okay. Charles, I don't know if you're familiar with the Charles Barkley thing with Galveston, and he's talking about how
Mm-mm.
dirty the water is there. And yeah, it was on, he does the basketball for TNT for the
Oh,
NBA, right?
yeah.
Uh, and so he made this big thing about Galveston. And when it was funny because we went on a cruise, we went down to Cozumel, our very first cruise. And we got off and we went to the beach there at a place called Mr. Sancho's. And it's an all-inclusive beach club, right? All the food, all the drink you could drink. I'm 6'2". I'm to my neck, and I could still see my feet in the water. That
That's
is
awesome.
that's my idea of a beach, right?
Yes.
Well, we get back to Galveston, we get off the ship. We're cruising down Shoreline Boulevard in Galveston, and we're looking out the water that's brown. And we're like, we'll never look at Galveston the same.
Now I understand what Charles Barkley was talking about.
Yes, exactly. And so when
Yeah.
everybody was making a big fuss about it, I was like, yeah, he's not really wrong. But, being that, but I am a Galveston advisor. I do love Galveston. The beach in comparison to a Cozumel or to a Honduras or Belize, no comparison. You
Yeah.
know,
No,
and,
I definitely get that. Go ahead.
and I have gone back and studied why is it that Galveston in particular has brown water, but yet you go right across the Gulf to Tampa, Florida, or to Pensacola, and the water's blue. Well,
Hmm.
come to find out, it's the drainage from the Mississippi River that drains in, and the way the
Oh.
coast, it brings the dirt back from the sediment from the river when it dumps into the Gulf of Mexico, that the waves carry it to Galveston.
Huh. Well, I'll be
So,
darned. I had no idea. I knew
yes,
there had to be something, some sort of reason,
yes,
because I haven't personally been to Galveston, but I've seen pictures of it, and it's
yes,
been one of those like, oh well, it's within driving distance, so maybe we can make it there one day. But we've also gone to like Orange Beach and Gulf Shores, and
yes,
those are also kind of dirty a little.
yes. Well, you got to remember where
Not
they
that I don't
dump,
love it. It's a beach, but
right? But you got to remember the Gulf of Mexico, the Mississippi River dumps right there in New Orleans, and
hmm,
so the sediment comes down, but yet then it's pushed back up by the ocean.
that makes sense.
So it's pushed right
Yeah.
back up to those. Well, and then by the time it clears back to Florida, right, it's already cleared out. It's all the sediment's already settled again. So that's why the
Gotcha.
Florida beaches are blue and sandy,
Hmm.
and we're
That
muddy
makes
and, and,
sense.
and dirty.
It's
But
so hard to go from like because we started out Orange Beach, Gulf Shores, and then we've made our way over to like Jamaica and Belize, and then we've kind of also went over to French Poly, and now it's like I just don't know if I ever want to do another U.S. beach again. Not that there's
yes,
anything wrong with them, but I
yes,
know what a beach really looks like now,
right.
so it's kind of hard.
Well, and you go down to South Beach, Miami, that is blue. That's blue and white, and
Oh,
so
absolutely, yes.
yes,
Hmm.
so there are some U.S. beaches that I love.
Yeah,
For the
Key
most,
West is also really, really pretty too.
I love Key West. Love Key
Yeah.
West. So
I could see myself living there for a while and,
yes,
and being okay
yes,
with it.
yes, and I have looked into that, but it's very expensive.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
very much. So. I mean, it's
yeah,
expensive even just to visit. So
yes, yes,
part of my vision, mission, values, all of that is to have purposeful, sustainable travel. So how are cruise ships kind of going towards that? Because everybody's trying to do like sustainable,
right.
more green energy and that sort of thing. Do they have that? Are they taking that into consideration?
They are very well much working for that. CLIA, the Cruise Line Industry Association, has just put out a study. Don't quote me on the year, but I think by 2030 or 2050, because a cruise ship lasts about 20 years.
Okay.
So The new ships coming out now are all natural gas, right? So they're,
Oh, okay.
yes.
Cool.
And they are now making them where they can plug into the electrical grid when they're parked at port so that they're not burning oil and energy there at the port. And
Okay.
so, but because of the years of service for a cruise line, I think it's 2050. I think I would have to research it, but I think
Hmm.
by 2050, all of the ships in every fleet will be eco friendly.
Awesome. I love to hear that. It
Yes.
makes me feel good to know that people are actually caring a little bit about the environment and trying
Yes.
to change things.
Well,
So
and
that's
here's the
good.
thing: MSC's island in the Bahamas, that was actually a toxic waste. They actually was
Oh,
a trash dump, and they have cleaned it up. They have turned it into a beautiful, pristine island, and they've built reefs and for the fish and for the wildlife. So they've done some things, and every cruise line is trying to do that. The main purpose people go on a cruise is to go see that kind of stuff, right?
right.
Because they want to see the blue waters. They want to. Well, if we don't take care of that, if they don't take care of that, and it's not there anymore, people are going to stop going. I mean, they don't want
Exactly.
to go and see trash. They don't want to go and see, right, toxic waste floating in the water. So
Yeah.
the cruise lines have done their part, are doing their part. Are there slip ups? Yeah, there's slip ups and everything.
Well,
But
right.
for the most part, they are working to do that in a better manner.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that they're actually taking that, like I said, into
Right.
consideration, and they're trying to make things better. Because you're right, like when I go to look at a beach, I'm there to enjoy the sand, the beautiful little fishes that are swimming around, all of that sort of thing. And if that's not there, then
Yep.
why am I even going? What's the
Right.
point? So where do you see the future of cruise ships going? How do you see them evolving?
Well, right now it seems like the push is for the bigger ships,
Hmm.
and I kind of get it in one sense because the cruise lines are trying to make themselves an all-in-one destination. Right? You're going to get on this icon of the season. If you haven't seen it on social media, my God, it's huge. But I call it the amusement park at sea. You're going to this destination, which is a cruise ship, but yet you're getting Broadway shows. Yet you're getting water park. Yet you're getting the flight simulator where you're like skydiving. They have rock wall climbing. They have the ropes course. They have all this stuff on that one ship. They even have food trucks on the ship, right?
Wow.
Uh, One of the most unusual things I saw when I first got on the ship, my very first cruise, is there was a car, right, in the promenade in the center of the ship. And it was a full size car. It was a Bentley, but you realize how huge this ship is. And so the comparison of a car in it's only taken up you know that
The
much
tiny
space,
spot.
right? So you realize that you're on this immaculate, big, huge creature, right?
Yeah.
And when you look up in the elevator bank and you can see, you can forget that you're actually in a ship,
Yeah.
right? Because of the size. And then going back to what we were talking about a little bit ago, is that how many different music venues, right? Because we talked about music a little bit, but there is a bar, and you don't have to drink. I'm not just talking about the alcohol, but there is a bar
Mm.
with every type of music that you could like. If you like
Okay.
calypso music, if you like country music, if you like folk music, if you like piano music, if whatever kind of music you like, there's a bar for it. Maybe only during a certain time, right? Band may
Hmm.
come on and play a certain type of music for a while. They go off, and then the next band that comes on plays a different type of music. So it may be limited, but there's everything that you could want.
That's really cool. I'm not gonna lie to you, you've got me a little excited about cruises. I
I like
never in a million years would have thought that I would feel this way. So I got to give you props for
it. Hmm.
that, for sure. Wow, this has been such a great. I've learned so much from this conversation. I really, truly have. let's kind of leave it off with like, what's the most unexpected joy that you have found in cruising, and what is it about them that keeps you coming back for more?
Okay. So one of the things that we do as a couple, me and my wife, is we
Hmm.
decide that when we get on, we have our routine, right? We're going to get on the ship. We've passed through customs, we've passed through the checkpoints, we've got on the ship. The first thing we do is we go get our first vacation drink on the ship. Pina
Okay.
colada, margarita, whichever, strawberry daiquiri. We're getting our drink, right? That's our official get together. We're now on vacation together type thing. And we'll go find some place. Well, we do our security check in, do our muster station, and we'll have to come back and visit that in a little bit because this whole, if I have to tell you about the process,
Hmm.
then,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So then we go get our mustard and we do that. And then we go find a place that we call our calm spot
Okay.
away from everybody, right? You can always find a spot on a ship, no matter where you can sit and find peace. There's all kind of chaos everywhere, right?
Hmm.
But you go find that spot on the ship where it's the air, it's the ocean, it's the smell, and you can reconnect to yourself, reconnect to your mate. Just whoo. Okay. Now, after we found our spot, then we go explore. Okay.
Now it's
Oh,
time to party.
now it's time to find out where we're gonna. Okay, so we go walk around, we look at everything, but we take a time each day to go back to that one spot. Did you experience anything yesterday? We need to talk about that. I experienced anything yesterday. We talked about because it's always good to reconnect, right? And if you're by
Right.
yourself, you can do the same thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Find your spot, take your favorite book, take your Kindle, whatever it is that grounds you, and go spend 30 minutes to an hour of your 23 hours on that ship, right? More,
Right.
and just take your time to be to reconnect to yourself. That's what vacation is about, right?
Hmm.
Vacation is a time for you to reflect and to regroup and to regather and to enjoy yourself. If you're taking that hour, and some people like the chaos, right? That's their grounding. I'm in the
Hmm.
chaos, but I'm
I
not a
am
part
not
of it,
that person, but
right?
get it. Yes.
But if you are, then that's fine. But on a Voyager class ship, right outside of the schooner bar, they always have chairs, right? And it's on the walkway toward the back of the ship. And not very many people walk the ship, right? They once you're in the day, after the first day, everybody walks the first day. After the first
Hmm.
day, they all find
Nah.
their own little place they're going to go, and they're not going to walk. So we find our little place and we just sit there, and we look out at the ocean, and we get up and we go look, and we just feel it, and the breeze blowing, and it's just a time to go. And I fell asleep out there. That's how quiet it is. And
That's
so,
awesome.
but that is something that we do. We always can go back. You can always go back to your cabin, right? You can always do that. Uh, we're usually in an ocean view cabin, so we have none of that outside air coming in. So I guess if you have a balcony, you can go sit on your balcony. If that's
It could be a good place to decompress.
right. So there's always somewhere on a ship. The back of the ship, on some of the ships, looking at the wake of the ship, that's a beautiful place. And there you'll see a lot of pictures on social media where people go take pictures of that place because it's very
Hmm.
peaceful. Like I said, cruising for me is uh, it's an all inclusive. It's a real all inclusive. My wife says we get to visit 3 places and unpack once.
Okay. Yeah, that's
So,
great. Great way to look at it.
sometimes it's more than 3 places, depending on the length of sailing. We like cruising so much we got 3 scheduled this year.
Ah,
So
love it.
yeah,
So you basically look at cruises the same way I look at like just going to the Caribbean and exploring little countries. That's my favorite thing. I don't know what it is about it, but it kind of brings me back to my roots, and it makes me feel like I'm grounded, and I don't know. There's just something so calming about it. So
so
I
you go
love
to one
that.
island and I can get to 4 islands.
Yeah, yeah. But I will say that I get to explore a little bit more of that one island than you do. That's it. That's the only like difference
Well,
between the two.
now it
But
depends because some of our cruise lines now will stay overnight.
oh, okay. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yes. So, and it basically came from the Mediterranean. The
Hmm.
ships that go to the Mediterranean, they originally started that. Like they'll be for a night in Rome, they'll be for a night in Barcelona, they'll be for a night in Athens, they'll be for a night in Palermo. So, and they'll spend the night there, right? So that you can actually enjoy the culture of the nightlife on those type of cruises. They're now doing it. Most of the cruise ships are now doing it at their private islands where you can have the bonfire beach and stuff like that. So there are options out there. Like it'll say extended stay or overnight stay. It'll tell the travel advisor. So in your case, where you like to do that,
Hmm.
your travel advisor would say, "Oh, look, B, we have one that stays overnight in Turks and Caicos. We have one that stays
Cool.
overnight in Caracas, right?" And so those would be the ships. Now, those are usually longer sailings, right?
Right. Well, that makes sense if they're going to
So,
stay overnight.
right. So those are
Hmm.
usually your 10, 11-day sailings, 9-day sailings. And then again, depends on which port you go out of and all that stuff. But again, a good travel advisor will talk to you and know what you want to do.
That's awesome. Well, you know that you're my new travel advisor. That is for sure. I
Thank you.
got a
Thank
guy
you.
travel. He's my
Yes.
guy. That's all I have to say
Thank
about
you.
that. So that's awesome. So real quick, I'm gonna go ahead. We're kind of running out of time a little bit. Just want to kind of give you some time to plug your business, your
Okay.
socials, all that stuff. So yeah, tell everybody where to find you.
Okay, so I got a guy, and one of the things we were going to talk about is where it came from, right? And so
Yeah.
my Italian heritage, I got a guy. Italians have a guy for everything. So
Got it.
when you hey, I need my taxes done. I got a guy. Hey, I got a guy. I got a guy. Well, I got a guy travels here, and that's all. Came from my Italian heritage, and also came from my Christian study, my Christian belief that I got a guy in Jesus. And so
Amen.
he's my man, and I know that I wouldn't be doing anything without him. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok. I got a guy travel.com is my website. The website is kind of just a push page. There's really not a lot of sale information on it because it changes so much. Facebook is more the place to catch the sales, the latest trends coming out. The Facebook page is overview of the cruise industry, the different cruise lines, a little bit of history on me, my certifications. That's where it is. But I got a guy travels everything. My I don't know if you could see it here, but
Yep.
my logo came. I developed this myself, so I'm pretty proud of it.
It's
It's got my
awesome.
little Italian flags on it. So we specialize in cruising, but we do everything. I've done a lot of land packages, like you were saying that you'd like to go to certain islands. I've done that.
Hmm.
The Bahamas, the Mexico, Cozumel, Cancun. I booked one last night of a person wanting to come to San Antonio
Oh, there
for
you
their
go.
vacation. So
Okay.
there are those options if cruising's not for you and you're definitely that like I've been on a cruise and I don't like it. Okay, I would suggest let me set you up with a 4 day cruise. If you like it, it's not the end of the world. If you love it, well, now you know what it's about.
Now you're officially a cruiser.
That's right. That's right.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. Like I said, I
Yes,
learned
ma'am.
a lot, and I do believe you might actually have me convinced that I might take a cruise one day. So
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
that's huge because I've been totally against it my whole life. So I love that.
Well, we
Yeah.
got a
So
4 dayer. I'm going on a 4 dayer in July out of Miami, going to Key West, going to the Bahamas, going to the private island, and back to Miami. 4 nights.
that's awesome, and you're gonna post tons of pictures so I can live
Yes.
vicariously through
Yes,
you.
I am.
Love it. Awesome. So, all right, you all, you heard it first, straight from I Got a Guide Travel. If you're looking for any kind of travel advisor whatsoever, he is your man. You can reach him on social media. Facebook's where I found him. That's where I see him the most. So I definitely suggest that platform. And yeah, if you have any questions, reach out to him. I'm sure he's more than happy to answer those for you. He's got a great personality, tons of information inside that brain of his. So I love that. Thank you so much, Frank. I appreciate
Bea.
it. I'm sure we'll keep in touch and
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
great day,
Thank you. You
great
too,
long
ma'am.
weekend. Enjoy and thank you for your service as well.
Thank
I
you, ma'am.
appreciate all that. So talk to you soon. Have a good
Right.
one.
Yeah,
Bye
bye-bye.
bye.